And walk before God in the light of the living. How He's delivered you from this area. Boy, hey, I remember I was in a battle about this, and God gave me victory over this. And then this thing else jumped up there, and I realized, oh my, I've got this other struggle. And God brought me through that. And as I've yielded myself to Him, God's brought me through this thing, brought me through that thing. And you start thinking about that, guess what happens? You get happy, you're saying, you know what? I can live for God. And as you get older, and you get weary and well-doing, you say, I'm just tired. Oh, just think about what He's bringing you to. How faithful He's been all those years, and how He's kept your eyes moving on Him, and how He's kept your eyes. And boy, He's bringing you all the way through. As you do that, guess what happens? You start saying, I can go a little farther. I can live this way a little longer. Hey, I might get weary and well-doing, but God's always been faithful, and He's going to bring me all the way to the other side. For whom He did foreknow, He also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of His Son. Whom He did predestinate, then He also, that might be the first one among me, brethren. And whom He did predestinate, then He also called. And whom He called, then He also justified. And whom He justified, then He also glorified. He says, He's already going to glorify you. Why? Because He's already done it. Get your eyes on Him. The Christian life is not about touch not, taste not, handle not. The Christian life is not about your dress standards, and I'm poor. It's not about your music standards, and I'm for them too. You know this. It's not about whether you're a King James Bible person, and I certainly am. It's about a relationship and fellowship with God. And when you have that, you'll end up with fullness and joy. And so God will start showing you, young lady, you need to do this. Now when you're a babe, guess what? Somebody else told you, do this, do this, do this. As a young man, you're starting to fight these battles saying, do I do this or don't I do this? As you've been older, you start saying, boy, look how God has blessed when I have done this. Guess what? That's the Christian life. It's about living with a focus on Him. You know what the biggest problem in our independent Baptist circles are? We got our focus on what we do. Well, I go soul winning. I do this. I'm a missionary. I'm a pastor. Well, you know, I give tithes of all I have. I fast twice a week. Guess what we do? They do the same thing the Pharisees did. Instead of having fellowship with the Father and with His Son Jesus Christ. Instead of just yielding ourselves to Him and letting Him have us and living in the fullness of joy. We make our rules and regulations. John's trying to teach us this isn't about rules and regulations. This is about fellowship. This is about fullness and joy. Get your focus on Him. There is no other answer to the Christian life. You know why people don't like that? Because that puts some responsibility on them to fellowship with God. They say, well, it's easy if I've got rules. It's easy if I've got rules. They can tell you how to, life is easy. When you're in the military, I call it the military, I know that. You know they told you get up at what time in the morning? They told you you had to be dressed a certain way. They tell you have to have your hair cut a certain way. And if you did all those things, they said, oh, you're doing great. Most people that get out of the military find out they're not as disciplined as they thought they were. Because now the responsibility is on them to live that life. You know what they find out? I don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I think I want to sleep in. I don't have to get my hair cut. So I'm going to let it grow a little bit longer. You know what they find out? They were not what they said they were. When the rules were there, But the law is only a schoolmaster to bring us to Christ. Fellowship and fullness of joy comes to getting past the rules to where it's all about loving God, living for God, and loving one another. What we do. So I'm just telling you, 1 John, just get this whole focus on Him. Him. That's the Christian life. When you do, guess what will happen? You'll start listening to the right music. You'll start reading the right things. You'll get under conviction when you start watching the wrong things. When your mind gets so caught up in this or that, it might get caught up in politics. I don't know what it might get. It might get caught up in politics or anything. And the Holy Ghost will start dealing with that thing in your life, that thing in your life. You start thinking about boys, start thinking about girls, whatever. You start thinking about things, and the Holy Ghost will say, wait a minute, what are you looking for? Are you looking for something to please you? Or are you looking for something to please Him? Guess what happens? You start having praise. And as you say, Lord, I'll give it to you. Because of where you brought me from, what you brought me through, and where you're bringing me to. And guess what happens? All of a sudden, you got to focus on Him. And you say, I don't even want to see it. Then you find yourself, whoops, that thought came across my mind. You say, well, how do I solve that? I run to Jesus and get back and focus on Him. It's simple, but it's very difficult. But we like, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Then we say we don't like it, but that's exactly what we do. So it's getting confusing, Rachel. Now, it's simple. It's living for Jesus. That's 1 John. I'll get more on 1 John and get more of that. Father, I pray you